from Mystic Rainbow Tarot, and thank you for tuning in today. And this is a requested reading on Justin Bieber and Hailey Bieber, and it's just generally about them, how they feel and their relationship and anything else that we get. And oh yes, I'd just like to say, please share, like and subscribe to support this channel, and remember to follow me on Instagram as well. So let's get the pack now and give it a shuffle. These are quite large cards to shuffle. Some messages about Justin and Hailey. Justin and Hailey, how are they doing? I must admit, I haven't heard anything about these two, so we'll see what we get. Justin and Hailey. Justin and Hailey. What's going on in their life at the moment, Justin and Hailey? Justin and Hailey, what's going on in their life now? Let's see what we get. I'm just going to put these to one side so that they don't get in the way. Pull those in a bit so you can see them. So let's see what the first card is. The first card in the reading is sexuality. So I feel this relates to the chemistry that Justin and Hailey felt from the beginning. As this is in the past, they were friends, but there was always this underlying chemistry which got stronger over time. So and I do feel this is what drew them together in the end. It was magnetic for them, and they do very much enjoy this part of their marriage. So but there are some other areas that they do need to work on. So the next card is the gardener. So I hope you can see that. And so what I'm getting here is there's a kind of a loss of sense of self, if you know what I mean, between these two. They've kind of forgotten who individually they are, and they've got absorbed into their relationship, and I feel they depend on each other a lot for satisfaction, happiness, validation, and their own sense of self-worth and everything, in fact. And at times they're struggling. So because of this, it's draining their relationship, and I feel if they're not careful, it could turn toxic. It isn't at the moment. It could become toxic because they're too dependent and reliant on each other. So that's the thing there. So they do have a bit of an up and down relationship, where at times they cling to each other, and they do have phases of happiness, but because they're both needy in different ways and codependent, they also have times of resentment towards each other, and then they have phases where they sort of argue a lot and things aren't great. So they kind of have this bittersweet relationship, and they would both benefit from spending time away from each other to balance themselves. I feel this is the answer, that there's no need for this. They need to do their own thing away from each other some of the time, to maintain a healthy balance in their relationship. Especially Justin, he needs to learn to be comfortable on his own, so that he can grow and evolve in, you know, and be himself more. So yeah, because I do think Hailey is okay at being on her own. But Justin's not so keen on being on his own at all. So the next card is intimacy. So with this card, I feel it relates back to actually the previous card, that if they did allow themselves more space in the relationship, instead of being kind of always needing each other, then when they did come back together from having that space away from each other, they wouldn't feel so restless. They would enjoy some real intimacy, because they would be nurturing themselves by doing their own thing, and really appreciating each other and their relationship when they get back together. And I feel they'd have a lot less arguments and feeling of resentment is what I'm getting when they're on a sort of not so good phase. So let's see what else. Because what I'm getting, the messages I'm getting is Justin kind of expects Hailey to be the fixer of all his emotional wounds, and he really needs to see a caring professional about this, because he has a lot of emotional baggage from the past. And this really is too much for Hailey to deal with, although she does her best, and she can't really handle it at times. So, you know, he's best go to a professional with that. So the next card we have is the Rainbow Reviver. So I'll hold that there. So what I'm getting with this card is it's quite a complicated relationship, and Justin and Hailey need to start feeling good about themselves from inside. I sense some friction at times in their relationship, which is why they have these conflicts. And because they're two very different personalities, they're opposites, and that's what's causing the conflict. And they're, you know, in the past, certainly in the first year, they did find it hard building a life together, but they are trying to understand each other a lot better now. So there's more compassion in the relationship, which is good as time's gone on, and they are continuously trying to work at this marriage. So I do sense that they feel a little bit low or depressed inside. This could be just the sign of the times, because a lot of people are like this at the moment, probably most of the world, with what's happening with the world crisis. I mean, it could be that because they can't do what they want with their careers, and when you're sort of holed up with somebody and you feel restless and frustrated about your careers, you know, that also isn't always great for relationships. But they're trying their best, so it could be due to that. But I do feel they suffer a little bit with a bit of low self-esteem, so I hope they work on that, you know. Yeah, it's a little bit of a confidence thing there, but I think they try and work on that. And that's what this card is actually about, working on yourself inside to make yourself feel better, a bit more confident, no matter what is happening in your relationship or work-wise or around the world or anything. So this is what this card is about. So the next card is boundaries. And there's that nice lady there with her candle, holding her candle. And this, I do think social media hasn't always been kind to them. And Hailey has suffered from this a lot in the past. You know, and that's very unkind of people. Always spread kindness and care, you know. Hailey doesn't deserve, you know, bullying on social media. That's just not nice. And that doesn't help her self-esteem. So it goes back to the self-esteem, and then Justin will feel bad and it'll affect his self-esteem. And this could be some of what's gone on here as well as the world crisis, to do with, you know, bad negative social media. So I do feel sorry for them, and a lot of famous people get targeted with this, and it's not good, and there's just no need for it. So I do think they must be strong and ignore these things. It's easier said than done, I know, but it's the only way, and they need to focus on themselves individually, getting in a good place, you know, and that will help them a lot to ignore it, you know. So let's see what the next card is. Connection. And that's a nice card with the couple there and the wine glasses on the table. So I feel this relates to, they need to work on their connection. Justin and Hailey really want a fulfilling connection. Yeah, so I do feel like perhaps all it would take is more listening to each other. I do feel like they understand each other better than they did when they first got married, because like I say, they are opposites, which isn't easy, and they do sit down and try to understand each other more. So it's never going to be the same as if they were the same type of people as each other, because it's already there, your connection then, because you get each other. So I just think because they're opposites, but they are building and working on that. They're doing a lot better than they were, so I mean that's positive in itself. It's just at times Hailey doesn't understand Justin, and at times Justin doesn't understand Hailey. So you know, that's where the friction comes in. But they're really trying now, especially with lockdown. A lot of people are working on their relationships and sort of saying how they feel about certain aspects of their life and relationship, and this does help to become more intimate and understanding. And I think Justin and Hailey are trying, they're going along that path. So that's really good, because they're no longer in the honeymoon phase anymore, and that's when marriages do become harder. But they're trying to work on that compatibility thing, so that's a really good thing. And I do feel that like long-term relationships and marriages are hard anyway, but I can't imagine how difficult it is if you're famous and then you're getting stick on social media, and people are always referring back to your ex, and all the rest of it. it's very hard. So I do feel sorry for them. So the next card is maturity. And I feel this card relates to emotional maturity, and I feel Justin needs to take responsibility for his own happiness. I feel like he got married thinking it would make him whole, and that Hailey was responsible for making him feel happy, secure and good about himself. But that isn't actually her job, because an emotionally mature person knows that they're the ones responsible for these things, not your partner, not your parents, not your best friend, you know. So it's just you are responsible for that. So that's why you know, their marriage is harder than it could be. It could be a lot easier if Justin can sort of find his own happiness from within himself, in fact. Because what I'm trying to say is Hailey can enhance only what is already there. So, and Justin is looking outside of himself for his happiness from Hailey and everywhere else. But he is in fact responsible for his own happiness, which can only come from inside himself, like I said. So once he starts to draw on his own happiness and find his own happiness inside himself, from himself, then their marriage will flourish a lot more. So this card is all about finding true inner happiness, and the sooner Justin does, the sooner his whole life and world will get better. Then he can heal his old wounds and upsets, and that's when he will become whole and really enjoy his life. And I'd like to see that happen. I really would. And you know, Hailey just wants Justin to be happy. That's what she wants, because she's been trying to help and fix him all this time. She's been basically trying to make him happy in every way she can. But you know, Justin and Hailey did marry in a whirlwind romance, and very quickly, and they were quite young. And you know, in the beginning they found it hard going, certainly in the first 12 months. And I do sense they have reached out for help in the past. I think Hailey has gone to her family and Justin friends. So, you know, it's not for lack of trying. Also, I do feel they're very involved in the church, which and the church encourages them to keep working at their marriage. And I do feel like there's marriage guidance within their church, and they will have gone to them. And so that they help and they support them within their church group, because they want them to have a happy union and marriage as well. So I was asked if they're getting divorced. No, they're not getting divorced right now. Because, you know, Hailey is doing everything she can to make this marriage work, and she really is a good wife. And also, I don't know if you ever saw the wedding, but she had it embroidered on her veil, "Till death do us part," and she did mean that. She thinks the world of Justin. She does love him. She does want it to work out. So hope that answers that question. But back to the church thing. I don't know if things have changed within the church, but I know years ago, people many years ago were brought up to believe that once you got married, you stayed married no matter what. and that wasn't good for a lot of women who weren't treated very well. So luckily things have evolved now, and divorce and separation is accepted, and hopefully in the church as well, you know, because they would base their marriage and what happens with it along the guidelines of, you know, their church and everything, because that's a big deal, their spirituality to them. And it's also their strength. They've got a support system, like I said, in the church. So what I think I'm going to do is just get my other pack and see if we've got any further messages about Justin and Hailey. So these are a little bit difficult to shuffle because of the shape of them, but I'm going to go with it and see. Messages about Justin and Hailey. Whoops. Messages about Justin and Hailey. I'm going to keep this one out because it did actually fall out. So I'm guessing that's a message for them. Messages about Justin and Hailey. Justin and Hailey. Oh, these are very hard to shuffle. Right. Let's put those back. There. See what we got. So this one is about freedom, as you can see on the card. Well, that actually looks like Hailey. Now, I do feel that Hailey likes her independence somewhat, and she would like more freedom in the relationship, just to do her own thing, because Hailey can be on her own all right. She can make her own happiness. So I think in terms of her, she likes to do her own keep fit routine, and she would like to spend more time probably with her girlfriends and things like that, or, you know, with her family. I just think she is a lot more independent than Justin, for definite. So this card would relate to that, and that would help their relationship in the way that Justin then gets to be on his own, and then, you know, he would find himself more, because he would have to make his own happiness some of the time more. So I feel that would help them. So, oh, this is a nice one with the couple together like that. Yeah. So so I feel like this is going over their passion again. They've got a lot of chemistry. I feel like their passion behind closed doors is sizzling hot. That side of their marriage is good, and it's always been good. So yeah, the sexual passion is good. So if they can get other things up to speed with that, but it's often other things in a marriage that are harder to work on, you know, because when you get opposites like they are, you know, you really have to work at your marriage. So yeah, I just feel like they are trying with that. They are trying to and this is what this card is depicting. They're trying to be more compassionate with each other, even though they're opposites. Yeah, so I feel like they do that when they've had a row. When they make up, I feel like they become more compassionate and try to see the other person's point of view then. Yeah, but if they can stop triggering each other off for it to happen in the first place, yeah, that would be even better. So let's see what the next card is. So this next card, I feel, is don't make decisions based on guilt or what you think you should do, for it is only in being true to yourself that you can be true to others. So that's the same thing again. And there's a guy on this, and I feel like this relates to Justin. He's got to be true to his self. You know, he's got to spend time being on his own without Hailey and finding his self again. And I think if he does that, his songs will improve a lot. You know, he's still a good singer, I'm not saying that, but remember his heyday, where he put all his soul into his songs, when he was at the top. I feel like he would find that passion again in his singing more, and even in areas of his life it would improve his marriage. I just think if he does that, starts finding himself again, being true to himself, he's going to really enjoy his life, and he's going to find that happiness. And Justin is always looking for that happiness. He's been looking for it all his life, you know, and that's the way to do it. His happiness is going to come from within, and I really want to see him finding that and not looking towards someone else to make him happy, or his latest car that makes him happy for a little while, a couple of days, a week or two, and then he's back to where he was. So he's got to start looking within. You know, maybe he would do quite well meditating. He's a Pisces, so he could do that well, and that would help him with that. So let's see what the next card is anyway. And this looks like it's got a nice dove on it. So yeah, the past is now behind you. Release it and embrace new possibilities. A new path is now available to you. Follow it with faith. So yeah, that's Justin again. He does hold on to the past. He's got to put the past behind him. Everything that bothers him or upsets him about the past, because you can't live in the past. And if you keep going back to the past like Justin does, or keep bringing up to Hailey, you know, you're going to get upset now about things in the past that are gone, and he does that, and that's not helping him. I mean, I know sometimes you've got to release things, but you know, you only need to do that once. You don't need to keep harping on about the past day after day or week after week. So Justin needs to move on and look to the future, and I do feel he's got new opportunities coming his way. I mean, I also think Hailey does, but she has this good knack, and I feel like if Justin could also adopt that, where she is very much an in the now person. She looks to the future all the time, with her career and her marriage. You know, what opportunities she'll be doing next in her career. She starts building on them now, and the same thing with her marriage. You know, where can they go? What can they do? She's very much doing the stuff for the marriage, but I feel like she puts more into it. So if Justin could find himself more, I feel like he could put more into the marriage, it would be more balanced then, and also he would become happy in himself, which will help his career and everything, his whole life, his friendships, everything. Yeah, so I'm going to leave it there, and I wish these two all the best, and I do hope they last, and I hope they get really happy. They do have their happy times, but I just hope they're happy all the time, and I wish them all the best. So that's the end of the reading now. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next reading, and bye for now.